Customer lifetime value, CLV, is a business metric that estimates how much money the average customer could bring in over the course of their relationship with the business. Different items, prices, purchase frequency, and volume can make it hard to figure out a client's lifetime value. But if you have the right tools, you can quickly figure out the value of a client over time. Getting to know CLV has many benefits, including helping you make smarter marketing and sales decisions. This manual explains what client lifetime value is and how to figure it out. It also has other important information that managers and business owners should know. What is customer lifetime value? Customer lifetime value is a metric that shows how much money a company can expect to make from a typical customer over the time that person or account stays a customer. When figuring out CLV, it's best to look at both the total average profit and the total average revenue that a customer brings in. Each gives you important information about how customers interact with your business and whether your marketing strategy as a whole is working the way you planned. For a more in-depth analysis of CLV, you could divide your company's customer base into quartiles or other groups. Because of this, you might try to get all of your clients to get the same results. This can help you figure out what is working well with your most valuable customers. Note, CLV can also be described in other ways. Simple equations that only look at revenue and more complicated ones that look at gross margin and other operational costs like COGS, shipping, and fulfillment. Marketing costs can be included, but sometimes they are left out if they change too much. In this essay, we're going to use revenue to keep things simple. Main points. Customer lifetime value, or CLV, is a way to measure how much money a customer brings in over the course of their entire relationship with a company. Calculating CLV in relation to CAC is a quick way to figure out how profitable a customer is and whether or not your business could grow in the long run. CLV can go up over time if a company uses a variety of marketing strategies. By looking at CLV by customer segment, you could learn more about what is and isn't working for your business. Customer lifetime value is measured by just one number, but there may be important differences. Knowing the different parts of your CLV lets you try out different approaches to see which works best with your clients. CLV is an important financial number for small businesses because it is easy to calculate. As an example, let's look at how a grocery chain might see CLV. Based on information from the company's ERP system, it can be seen that the average customer stays with the business for 7 years, spends $50 per visit, and comes in 26 times per year, on average. When you multiply these three numbers, 50 times 26 times 7, you get $9,100, which is the grocery store's CLV. But why is that number important? In the next part, we'll get into more detail. Why do companies care about the value of a customer over time? Why does it matter? In the above case, we figured out the average lifetime value of a customer for a grocery store. But why do businesses care about CLV? Here are some of the most important reasons to track and use CLV. You can't improve what you don't measure. Once you start calculating client lifetime value and breaking it down into its parts, you can use specific pricing, sales, advertising, and customer retention strategies to lower costs and increase profits. Change how you decide how much it costs to get a new customer. When you know how much you can expect to make from a typical customer, you can change your spending to increase or decrease your profits and keep the right types of customers. Better predictions. CLV predictions can help you plan ahead for costs like inventory, staff, manufacturing capacity, and other costs. Without a prediction, you could accidentally spend too much and waste money, or not spend enough and have trouble keeping up with demand. Customer lifetime value benefits. Improve customer retention. Two of the most important parts of managing CLV are keeping customers and keeping them coming back. By keeping track of these facts and dividing your audience in the right way, you can find out who your best customers are and what works well for them. Get customers to buy from you again. Some stores, companies, restaurant chains, and other businesses have loyal customers who keep coming back. CLV lets you keep track of the average number of visits per year or over the lifetime of a client, which you can use to plan ways to get more repeat business. Promote higher value sales. Netflix is an example of a company that increased CLV through price increases, but it learned years ago that doing so too rapidly could drive away devoted customers. Here, the key to success is finding the right balance. Increase profits. In general, a higher CLV should mean more money in your pocket. You should see the benefit on your bottom line as a result of keeping consumers for a longer period of time and creating a business that encourages them to spend more money. The problems with customer lifetime value. Calculating CLV might be challenging if you don't have quality tracking measures in place. On an automated dashboard that monitors KPIs, an enterprise resource planning (ERP) or customer relationship management (CRM) system can quickly make this information accessible. High-level findings might not be reliable. The total CLV of a company can be a useful piece of information, but it can also hide problems with certain types of customers. More usable data could be obtained by segmenting the data based on client size, location, and other factors. Understanding the value of the customer lifecycle. CLV math is not something that companies that use ERP systems need to worry about. The system takes care of all of the math for you. But if you want to figure out the value of a client over their lifetime by hand, just use the methods and formulas below. How to figure out the value of a customer over time in 4 steps. 1. Find out how much your average order costs. Find out what the average sale is worth. If you haven't been keeping track of this data for a long time, you might want to use a 1 or 3 month period instead of the whole year. 2. Figure out how many transactions happen on average each period. Customers come to the business often, like a coffee shop, or rarely, like a car dealership. The number of visits is a key part of figuring out CLV. 3. Calculate your client retention. Finally, you need to find out how long your customers usually stay with your company. Some brands, like those in the car and tech industries, make people loyal for their whole lives. Some, like gas stations or retail franchises, may have customers who don't come back as often. 4. If you have the right information, figure out the lifetime value of a customer. Now, multiply all 3 numbers together and use the formula below to find CLV. Formula for customer lifetime value. Here's how to figure out the client's lifetime value. CLV equals average transaction size times number of transactions times retention period. Each of these inputs can be used as a lever to raise your CLV. Still, any decision your company makes could affect CLV in ways you didn't expect. For example, if you raise your prices, your average sale may be bigger, but customers may buy less or look for less expensive alternatives. The 4 P's of marketing, which are product, location, price, and promotion, are well known to experienced marketers who have a good idea of how marketing actions affect customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value, CLV. Some examples. The best way to understand CLV is through examples. Consider the following examples from 3 very different industries to get a better idea of how customer lifetime value may affect your business. A coffee shop. A coffee shop is a great first example of CLV because it is easy to understand even if you don't know much about business. Let's say that the average sale at a chain of 3 coffee shops in a certain area is $4. The typical client is a person who works in the area and comes in twice a week, 50 weeks a year, for an average of 5 years. CLV equals average sale of $4 times 100 visits per year times 5 years equals $2,000. Store that sells cars. A car dealership buys fewer cars than it sells, but the average amount it sells is much higher. In this example, we'll say that someone spends $30,000 every 5 years on a new car. People feel close to this brand and have been buying it often for 15 years. CLV equals $30,000. Average sale times 2 number of purchases per year times 15 years equals $90,000. There are many ways for businesses to increase their CLV. Consider these 14 suggestions if you want to make more money from regular customers. Programs that give customers a gift or a reward. Consumer loyalty programs make customers more likely to buy from you again and keep them interested. Frequent flyer programs and punch cards from restaurants are two popular examples. Encouragement of repeat business can increase the number of times a customer buys from a certain brand and the length of time they buy from that brand. Customer happiness. The customer experience includes your website, your physical store, your call center, and any other point of contact with your business. Customers are more likely to come back if they always have a good, stress-free shopping experience. To make customers feel more welcome. Some customers buy something from a business but don't know what to do next. Successful businesses have always had a plan for how to connect with their customers. For many businesses to grow, they need to turn one-time customers into customers who buy from them again and again. How to talk to customers. Companies that keep track of every contact they have with a client can find ways to improve both customer loyalty and the customer experience. This should be true for all channels, like advertising, sales, and customer service. Better services for clients. Customers who don't get good service may quickly switch to a competitor, which will cause your CLV to go down. Customer loyalty will go up even more if we do everything we can to make sure every customer service interaction goes well. With CRM systems and customer service platforms, these interactions are centralized to make them easier to manage. Taking care of customer relationships. In sales, customer service, and marketing, companies must know how they interact with customers and what they have said to them in the past. ERP and CRM systems help keep track of and improve these connections over time by making sure that information flows smoothly from lead to opportunity, sales order, fulfillment, renewal, upsell, and support, and back again. Loop for customer response. If a customer has a bad experience, it should be fixed as soon as possible. Businesses should always ask customers what they think to improve the customer experience and not just rely on customer service to fix problems. Customers are more likely to be happy with a product or service if problems are fixed on a regular basis. Spend money on software and technology. You can automate processes, and a lot of your business data can be tracked and put in one place. Some businesses use simple tools like email, spreadsheets, and contact databases to keep track of all this information, but it's much easier to use software suites that have already been tested and are ready to go. Your clients will be able to tell the difference. Cross-sale and upsell. It is often easier to re-engage or upsell an existing customer than to find a new one. Upselling and cross-selling are ways to get customers to buy more expensive or more than one product or service at once instead of a cheaper one. Costs went up. If done right, a price increase can raise CLV right away. But don't raise prices in a way that scares clients away. When choosing your own, you should also think about how much the other ones cost. You might be able to raise prices without losing customers if you put a lot of emphasis on value and give customers something they can't get anywhere else. On social media, one of the best ways to get customers' attention is to talk to them where they already hang out. Social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are good places to advertise and keep in touch with customers. Simple purchases can lead to big adventures. The cart abandonment rate is a way for online stores to figure out how many customers start shopping but leave before they finish the checkout process. This is also true for shopping in person, where too many choices and too much packaging might turn people away. You can make every sale possible if you make it easy for people to buy from you. A/B testing is one way that companies that think ahead can figure out what works best. Facilitate returns. If you make it hard for customers who are unhappy with your products or services to return or exchange them, you could lose them as customers for life. If the return process is easy, a customer is more likely to use your product or service again. Details of content. Content marketing is a way to teach or entertain the people you want to reach. It is usually made to build trust and loyalty in a brand. Blog posts, ebooks, videos, podcasts, and other media are all popular types of targeted content that can speak to specific groups of people.